Yo guys, I'm finally back after a long time. I hope you all are doing great, so today we are gonna see a brand new what if written by me. What if Naruto was teleported in Dragon Ball universe and got harem with Android 18, Bulma, Kai, Caulifla, Launch and other girls. Part 1. Thanks for sticking around Yule, it really means a lot. Now let's begin the video. The wrong dimension. It started with a seal. Not just any seal. The kind that hummed with energy so ancient and so dense that even the air around it seemed to hold its breath. Naruto Uzumaki had seen a lot of strange things in his life. He had watched a man sprout giant snake heads from his neck. He had seen a fox made of pure hatred and chakra tear mountains apart like wet paper. He had stared death in the face so many times that death had started to feel like an old, unwelcome neighbor who kept knocking on his door at 3 in the morning. But this, he had not seen before. It had started as a normal mission. Well, normal by his standards, which meant it was already pretty weird to begin with. Konoha had received word about a crumbling ruin site deep in the Land of Fire, where a team of archaeologists had uncovered what appeared to be an ancient storage seal, buried under 40 feet of solid rock. The seal was pulsing with chakra. Old chakra. The kind that made your teeth ache just standing near it. The Hokage, being the reasonable, careful leader that she was, had sent Naruto. He was not sure if that was a compliment or a punishment. He had arrived at the site alone, because the team leader had insisted the ruins were too unstable for a large group. The archaeologists were camped 100 meters back, behind a row of reinforced barriers. Naruto had stepped into the underground chamber alone, lit by a single torch, with nothing but his kunai and his own instincts to guide him. A seal was carved into the floor. It was massive, maybe 10 meters wide, made up of concentric circles and branching lines that reminded him uncomfortably of the 8 trigram seal on his own stomach. He had crouched down, pressed his palm flat against one of the outer rings, and reached out with his chakra to feel what was inside. For about 3 seconds, nothing happened. Then everything happened. The seal had not been a storage seal. It had been a transportation seal. A broken one. The kind of broken that had been sitting underground, building pressure for probably 1,000 years, just waiting for someone stupid enough to pour chakra into it. The moment his energy touched the outer ring, the entire floor had lit up like the sun. The concentric circles had begun spinning in opposite directions. The branching lines had snapped outward like cracking ice. Then Naruto, who had maybe half a second to register what was happening, had done the very reasonable thing of jumping backward and shouting a word that he was pretty sure no one in a children's story should ever say. It had not helped. The light swallowed him whole. There was a sensation like being turned inside out while simultaneously being squeezed through a straw. Every nerve in his body fired at once. The 9 tails chakra inside him had flared up in alarm, and he had felt Kurama slam against the walls of his consciousness like a caged animal, snarling and confused. The world had gone white. Then black. Then white again. Then he had hit the ground. Hard. He lay there for a long moment, face down in what felt like grass. Real grass. Soft and green and smelling like summer. He took one breath, then another. Everything hurt in the general full-body way that suggested he had just been thrown a very long distance. He pushed himself up onto his hands and knees, shook his head to clear the ringing in his ears, and looked around. He was on a hillside. A wide, green, impossibly peaceful hillside. The sky above him was a shade of blue that seemed almost too blue, like someone had turned up the saturation on reality by about 30%. There were clouds drifting lazily overhead, big fluffy ones, the kind you might draw if a child asked you to draw a cloud. The grass around him was untouched and perfectly ordinary. There was a dirt road a few meters away, winding down the hill toward what looked like a small town in the valley below. He sat back on his heels and looked at all of this. Then he looked behind him. There was nothing there. No seal. No ruins. No portal. Just more hillside. He looked down at his hands. Still his hands. Orange jacket, still orange. Headband, still there. He reached inside himself and found Kurama, who was sitting very still in the mental space they shared, ears flat, tails wrapped around himself, radiating a quiet concentrated unease that Naruto had never quite felt from the fox before. Hey, he thought toward the fox. You okay in there? Kurama was quiet for a moment. Then he said, something is wrong with this place. Yeah, Naruto thought back. I got that. Where are we? I do not know, Kurama said, and that alone was enough to make Naruto's stomach drop because Kurama always knew things. The fox had been alive for centuries. He had a mental library of knowledge that Naruto could barely scratch the surface of. When Kurama said he did not know something, it meant they were genuinely in uncharted territory. The energy here is wrong. It is not chakra. Something else. Something I have never felt before. Something else. Naruto stood up slowly, stretched his back until it popped twice, and squinted down at the town below. Okay, he thought. One thing at a time. First, figure out where we are. Then figure out how to get back. Simple. He started walking down the hill. The town was called Pepper Town, according to a cheerful painted sign near the road. It was a small, neat little place with cobblestone streets and buildings that looked like they belonged somewhere in the middle of nowhere, which was exactly where it appeared to be. There were people walking around, going about their business, carrying shopping bags and riding bicycles and doing completely normal things. Naruto walked down the main street with his hands in his jacket pockets and his eyes moving over everything, cataloging and assessing. The people looked normal. They looked more than normal, actually. They looked ordinary in the very specific way that people who have never had to worry about ninja attacks or monster invasions look ordinary. Relaxed. Unhurried. Completely unbothered by the blonde kid in the orange jumpsuit who was walking through their town looking like he had just fallen out of the sky. One old woman glanced at him and smiled. He smiled back. A couple of kids ran past chasing a ball. A man was washing windows. It was all so completely, disarmingly peaceful that it made Naruto nervous in a completely different way than danger usually made him nervous. He stopped at what appeared to be a small food stand near the center of the market street. A round, red-faced man was selling bowls of something that smelled incredible, a thick steaming broth with noodles and vegetables, and what appeared to be several different kinds of meat piled on top. Naruto's stomach spoke before his brain did. "Excuse me," he said. "How much for a bowl?" The man looked at him. His eyes traveled from the blonde hair to the orange jacket to the headband to the whisker marks on Naruto's cheeks. He blinked once. Then he named a price. Naruto reached into his pocket and found his small pouch of Ryo. He held it out and the man looked at the coins with visible confusion. "These are not standard currency," the man said. "Yeah," Naruto said. "About that. Long story. You take anything else?" The man squinted at him. "Are you from the city?" "Sure," Naruto said, because it was easier than explaining the truth. The man seemed to accept this with the easy logic of someone who had probably seen stranger things walk through a market town before. He waved a hand. "First bowl is free. You look hungry." Naruto could have hugged him. He sat down on the little wooden stool in front of the stand and accepted the bowl with both hands and a bow, the way his grandmother, the ramen shop lady back in Konoha, had taught him years ago. Then he put his face over the steam and breathed in and let himself, just for one moment, feel the particular kind of homesick that only good food can make you feel. He ate the whole thing in about 4 minutes. The man refilled it without being asked. While he ate, he asked questions. Careful ones, the kind that gathered information without sounding strange. He asked about the region. He asked about travel routes. He asked about news. The man was a talker, cheerful and open, the kind of person who found a new audience every day in the stream of travelers passing through. What Naruto learned over 2 bowls of soup and about 20 minutes of casual conversation was this. He was in a country called the Earth. Not a country within a larger world, but the actual entire planet Earth. The planet had a world government and a world military organization called the Red Ribbon Army, though the man said that organization had been smashed years ago by a single fighter. There were things called Dragon Balls, 7 magical orbs that could grant any wish when gathered together. There were beings that could fly. There were fighters who could destroy mountains with their bare hands. Naruto set down his chopsticks. "That destroy mountains with their bare hands," he said carefully. The man nodded enthusiastically. "Oh yes. There is a martial arts tournament, the World Martial Arts Tournament, they hold it every few years. The fighters there, some of them, you would not believe the things they can do. There is a man, they say, who defeated a god. Can you imagine? A god." Naruto was very still for a moment. "Kurama," he thought. "I heard," the fox said. "We are not in the elemental nations." "We are not," Kurama agreed. "We are not even in the same world." "No." Naruto picked his chopsticks back up and ate a third of the second bowl in one go. "Okay," he thought. "Okay. This is fine. This is absolutely fine. I have dealt with worse than being thrown into a completely different world by a broken seal. Probably." He could not immediately think of a specific example, but he was sure one existed. He paid for the meal with a sincere and slightly embarrassing amount of gratitude, got directions to the nearest large city, and started walking. He had been walking for maybe 2 hours, following the dirt road through rolling hills and past occasional farms, when he felt it. It hit him like a physical thing. Not chakra. Not anything he had felt before. It was an energy signature, massive and dense, coming from somewhere ahead of him and slightly above, which made no sense because there was nothing in the sky above him. He stopped walking and tilted his head back. The sky was empty. Then the air cracked. He was moving before the sound fully registered, his body dropping into a combat crouch, both hands coming up, chakra already flowing to his fingertips. A figure shot overhead like a meteor, trailing a white streak against a blue sky, moving so fast that by the time Naruto's eyes found it, it was already past him and dropping toward the ground maybe 100 meters ahead. It hit the earth with a boom that he felt through the soles of his sandals, sending a shockwave of displaced air rolling back over him that almost knocked him off his feet. He straightened up slowly. His heart was running at about double speed. The dust settled. There was a man standing in a small crater in the road. He was shorter than Naruto, which was not something Naruto encountered very often, and he was wearing an orange and blue outfit that, Naruto thought with a distant sense of amusement, was oddly familiar in color scheme. The man had wild black hair that stood up in points like a flame frozen in place. His eyes were dark, sharp, and looking directly at Naruto with an expression of mild surprise. The man looked at him for a moment. Then he said, "You felt that. Most people cannot feel that." Naruto blinked. "Feel what?" "Like when I landed. You reacted before I hit the ground." "Oh," Naruto said. "Yeah. I sensed something. Did not know what it was." The man's expression shifted. Not quite suspicion. More like curiosity, the focused kind. He stepped up out of the small crater and stood in the road, looking at Naruto with his head slightly tilted. "You have an energy on you that I have never sensed before. It is not Kai." "What is it?" "It is called chakra," Naruto said. The man stared at him. Naruto stared back. The man said, "I am Son Goku." Naruto said, "Naruto Uzumaki." Goku's face split into a grin that transformed it completely, made him look boyish and open and genuinely delighted. He stuck out his hand. Naruto shook it. The grip was firm and warm and completely without any of the careful, measured pressure that fighters sometimes used when they shook hands. Just straightforward, honest strength. "Where are you from?" Goku said. "Long story," Naruto said. "I like long stories," Goku said happily. "Are you hungry?" Kai made enough food for about 6 people this morning, and I have been out here training all day." He paused. "Also, I think I was supposed to be back 2 hours ago." Naruto smiled. That felt familiar too. They walked together down the road, Goku moving with the unhurried ease of someone for whom walking was just the slow way to travel. He talked while he walked, questions tumbling out of him in a cheerful, unself-conscious dream. Where was Naruto from? What was chakra? Could he fly? How much could he lift? Had he ever fought anyone really strong? The questions were completely without agenda, just pure interest, and they pulled answers out of Naruto in a way that calculated questioning never could. Naruto explained the elemental nations. He explained shinobi. He explained chakra in the simplest terms he could, nature energy and physical energy combined, shaped by hand signs, used for everything from healing to creating fire to summoning giant toads. He explained the 9 tails, and Goku listened to that part with his eyebrows raised and his head nodding slowly, like someone hearing about a particular type of equipment he had not encountered before. Then Goku said, "So you have a demon fox living inside you?" "Yeah," Naruto said. "And it is okay with that?" "More or less," Naruto said. "We have an understanding." "What kind of understanding?" "It is complicated," Naruto said. Goku said, apparently satisfied with that, because he moved on immediately. "Can the fox fight on its own?" "Only if I let it out, which I try not to do." "Why?" "Because when it comes out it tends to destroy everything in a very large radius." Goku nodded. "That sounds familiar." He paused. "Do you want to spar?" Naruto looked at him sideways. "Right now?" "Yeah. I want to see what chakra looks like in a fight." Naruto considered this. He had been in this world for about 3 hours. He did not know where he was, who he could trust, how any of the rules worked, or how to get home. He was low on resources and high on stress, and the reasonable, adult, mature thing to do was to politely decline and focus on gathering information and finding help. "Sure," he said. They stepped off the road into a wide, flat field of tall grass. Goku rolled his shoulders and adopted a loose, easy stance, his weight balanced and centered, hands open at his sides. He looked relaxed. He looked like someone who was always ready. Naruto dropped into his own stance, hands up, weight forward on the balls of his feet. He pulled a thread of chakra up through his system, not all the way, just enough to feel sharp. Goku tilted his head. "I can feel something changing in you. Your energy just sharpened." "I pushed some chakra to the surface," Naruto said. "Interesting," Goku said. His expression went focused and gentle at the same time, the look of someone genuinely enjoying themselves. Then he disappeared. Naruto's senses exploded. He had fought fast people before. He had fought Sasuke, who moved like dark lightning. He had fought cage-level ninja whose speed was so far above his early self that it had looked like teleportation. He was not slow himself, not anymore. But Goku was something else. He felt the displacement of air half a heartbeat before the fist arrived and threw himself sideways, tucking into a roll that carried him 3 meters to the left. The impact hit the ground where he had been standing and sent a shockwave into the earth that opened a crack maybe 2 meters long in the field. Naruto came out of the roll on his feet, already forming the cross seal. Shadow Clone Jutsu. 4 copies of him burst into existence around the field, spreading out instantly. Goku stopped in the center of the formation, turned slowly, looking at each copy with bright, interested eyes. "These are real," he said. "I can feel each one. They each have their own energy." "Yeah," Naruto said from behind him. Goku turned and blocked the kick without looking, one forearm catching Naruto's leg, and the impact rattled all the way up Naruto's hip. The man's defense was like hitting a stone wall. A polite stone wall, one that caught the kick rather than just letting you hurt yourself on it, but stone nonetheless. The clones converged. 3 of them hit simultaneously from different angles, while the real Naruto dropped low and drove a chakra-enhanced fist toward Goku's midsection. Goku dispersed 2 of the clones with a sweeping motion, sidestepped the third, and caught Naruto's punch with an open palm, redirecting the 4 sideways. Naruto spun with the redirect, using the momentum, came around with his elbow. That one actually connected. Goku stepped back half a step. His eyes lit up. "That tingled," he said, sounding thrilled. Naruto reformed his clones and started building the Rasengan in his palm, the sphere of concentrated chakra spinning into existence with a sound like a miniature hurricane. Goku's eyes went to it immediately, tracking the rotating ball of energy with focused attention. "What is that?" he said. Naruto did not answer. He threw himself forward, driving the Rasengan directly at Goku's chest. Goku brought both palms up and caught it. The rotational force ground against his palms and the earth under his feet cracked, and the grass in a 3-meter radius flattened outward like a circular wave. Goku held it. His feet were dug 2 centimeters into the earth from the force, but he held it. His expression was one of intense focused concentration, and then he pushed back, and Naruto felt the Rasengan destabilize and scatter. He jumped back before the backlash could catch him. The scattered chakra popped and crackled in the air. There was a short silence. "That is incredible," Goku said. "I have never felt anything like that. It is not Kai at all. It is completely different energy, but you weaponized it just as effectively." Naruto was breathing a little harder than he would have liked. "You stopped it with your hands." "I have very tough hands," Goku said apologetically. "How strong are you?" Naruto asked. Goku tilted his head. "How do you measure it?" "I do not know," Naruto said honestly. "I do not know how anything works here yet." Goku nodded, accepting this without making it strange. He settled back to standing, hands at his sides. "You are very impressive. The speed, the copies, that energy ball, the body enhancement. You would give most fighters I know a serious run." "Most fighters?" "Most," Goku said. He paused, as if considering whether to say the next part. "I am holding back right now." Naruto stared at him. "By how much?" "Quite a lot," Goku said, and there was no boasting in his voice at all. "Just a statement of fact, offered gently." He seemed almost sorry about it. Naruto was quiet for a moment. He was not insulted. He was a Hokage-level shinobi in his own world, one of the most powerful people alive. He could level a mountain. He could fight Cage and walk away. He was not accustomed to being told he was on the lower end of the scale, without some part of him wanting to argue. But the Rasengan had scattered against Goku's bare hands. And the man had moved so fast that Naruto's enhanced senses had barely tracked him. And there had been no effort in it. No visible effort. This was a person holding back the way you hold back when you are worried about breaking something, and what he was worried about breaking was the ground. Naruto breathed out slowly. He felt Kurama watching through his eyes, quiet and alert. "I need to get stronger," Naruto said. It was not to Goku. Not really. It was just out loud. A conclusion. A recognition. Goku grinned. "I can respect that." He looked at Naruto for a moment, that same direct, uncomplicated attention. "You got here somehow. Do you know how to get back?" "No," Naruto said. "Do you have anywhere to stay?" "No." "Money?" "No." Goku nodded slowly, as if checking items off an invisible list. "Okay. Come eat dinner with us. Kai will not be happy that I am late, but she will probably be less unhappy if I bring someone home." He paused. "Maybe." He paused again. "It depends on the day." Naruto almost laughed. He fell into step beside Goku, and they walked back to the road together. The house was small and warm and smelled extraordinary. Naruto smelled it before he could see it, a rich combination of cooked vegetables and meat and something sweet and baked, all layered together in a way that made his chest ache with something that felt a lot like the memory of Ichiraku ramen. Home smells. The kind that meant someone was taking care of someone else. The house sat at the edge of the woods, surrounded by a vegetable garden and some fruit trees, and what appeared to be a small pond. It was a simple place, well built and well kept. As they came around the last bend in the path, the front door swung open and a woman stepped out, her arms crossed and her eyes already locked onto Goku with the particular expression of someone who has been waiting for a while. She was pretty, dark-haired, with sharp eyes and a way of holding herself that suggested she was not someone you argued with without being very sure of your position. She was wearing an apron over her dress, and she had a wooden spoon in her hand, which somehow made her look more formidable rather than less. "You're late," she said. "I know," Goku said. "I am sorry. You were supposed to help Gohan with his studying this afternoon." "I was training." "You are always training." "I know." He smiled at her. His smile was genuine and warm and completely without strategy, and Naruto watched the woman's expression shift slightly, just slightly, from irritation towards something softer, even as she clearly did not want it to. Then she noticed Naruto. "Who is this?" she said. "This is Naruto," Goku said. "He is from far away and he does not have anywhere to stay tonight. I told him he could eat dinner with us." The woman looked at Naruto. Her gaze was quick and thorough, the assessment of someone who had dealt with a very wide variety of strangers arriving at her house over the years. It landed on his face, his headband, his orange jacket, his whisker marks, and then came back to his eyes. Naruto met her gaze directly. He bowed, deep and respectful. "I am sorry for intruding. I appreciate your hospitality. Your house smells incredible." Her expression softened further. "Just a little. Just enough." "Kai," she said. Her voice was a fraction warmer than it had been a moment before. "You're polite, at least." She turned back to Goku. "Come inside. Both of you. Wash your hands before you touch anything in my kitchen." Inside the house was even warmer than outside, and the dinner table was already set. A boy was sitting at it with a textbook open in front of him, young, maybe 8 or 9, with Goku's wild dark hair and Kai's sharp, attentive eyes. He looked up when they came in. "Dad," he said. "Who is that?" "This is Naruto," Goku said. "He is a shinobi." Gohan's eyes went wide. "What is a shinobi?" "Someone who uses a type of energy called chakra to fight," Naruto said, crouching down to the kid's level in an automatic way that came from years of talking to children in Konoha. "It is different from Kai. More about technique and precision." "Can you show me?" Gohan said immediately. "Dinner first," Kai said from the kitchen, without looking. Gohan closed his textbook. They ate around the table together, the 4 of them, and the food was extraordinary. Kai cooked the way she did everything else, with complete commitment and zero compromise. The rice was perfect. The vegetables were done exactly right. The meat was tender and seasoned carefully, and there was more of it on the table than Naruto thought 4 people could reasonably eat, which meant that either Kai cooked for a Goku-sized appetite routinely, or she had used the extra people as an excuse to make even more. He ate everything she put in front of him and then asked for more, and the expression she gave him was satisfied and slightly approving. Goku explained the situation between bites, which meant the explanation was punctuated by enthusiastic chewing and occasional moments where Goku had to wait for his mouth to be less full before continuing. The portal seal, the different world, the chakra that was not Kai. Kai listened. She was a smart woman, clearly, and she processed information quickly, filtering it through a practical lens. "So you are stranded," she said. "Looks like it," Naruto said. "Do you know anyone here?" "Just you 3, as of about 2 hours ago." She looked at Goku. "He can stay in the spare room." She said it like a decision already made. Naruto blinked. It was that simple. He had expected more questions, more hesitation. But Kai, he was beginning to understand, was someone who made decisions quickly and stuck to them, and her decision apparently was that a polite young man who complimented her cooking and ate his vegetables without complaint was welcome in her house. "Thank you," he said. "Sincerely. I will help however I can while I am here." "You can chop wood," she said. "Goku never does it properly." "I chop it fine," Goku said. "You split the logs in half lengthwise," Kai said. "That is not how you chop wood." "It makes smaller pieces," Goku said. "That is not the point." Naruto caught Gohan's eye across the table. The boy was watching his parents with the resigned amusement of someone who had sat through this particular exchange many times before. Naruto pressed his lips together to keep from grinning. After dinner, Gohan led him to the spare room while Kai cleaned up and Goku disappeared outside to do what he called a few more sets, which based on the distant sounds of impact, seemed to involve hitting something very large very hard in the dark. The spare room was small and clean, with a bed and a window that looked out over the garden. Naruto sat on the edge of the bed and looked out at the night sky. The stars were bright here. Different arrangement than home, which made sense, because this was a different world entirely. He reached inside himself. Kurama was there, coiled and quiet. "We are going to be here for a while," he said to the fox. "Yes," Kurama said. "I need to learn how this world works. I need to understand Kai. I need to get strong enough to survive here while we figure out how to get home." "Yes," Kurama said again. Then, after a pause. "That man Goku is extraordinary." "I noticed," Naruto said. "He is holding back to a degree I cannot fully measure. The energy underneath what he shows is," Kurama paused, unusual for the fox to do. "It is very large." Naruto lay back on the bed and stared at the ceiling. He had fought his way to the top of his own world. Cage level. One of the most powerful shinobi alive. In this world, apparently, that put him somewhere in the middle of the visible spectrum, and there were people above Goku. He felt something familiar settle in his chest. That old fire. The one that had carried him from being the kid nobody believed in to being the man who saved the world. It burned a little differently now, not desperate, not angry, not trying to prove anything to anyone. Just determined. Clear. Like a lantern rather than a bonfire. He was going to need to get stronger. He had no idea yet how much stronger. But that was fine. He would find out. He would push until he found the ceiling, and then he would push through that too. That was what he did. That was who he was. He fell asleep watching the stars through the window, and his last thought before sleep took him was that at least the stars here were still beautiful, even if they were in the wrong arrangement. In the morning, Kai woke him by knocking once on his door at what felt like an extremely early hour. He opened the door still half asleep and found her standing in the hallway with an apron on already and her hair perfectly arranged. "Breakfast is in 20 minutes, she said. "There is a well around the back for washing up." She paused, looking at his hair, which was doing things it should probably not have been doing. She handed him a comb. Then she walked back down the hallway without further comment. He used the comb. It did not help much. Breakfast was rice and soup and grilled fish and enough food for about 12 people. Goku was already at the table eating with the focused intensity of someone refueling after an all-night workout, which was apparently exactly what he had been doing. Gohan was getting lectured by Kai about his study schedule for the day, while simultaneously eating fish and listening to his father tell a story about something he had fought 3 years ago. Naruto sat down and was handed a bowl immediately. He ate and listened and watched. Watched the way this family worked. The easy rhythm of it, the way they talked over each other and listened anyway, the way Kai kept putting food on Goku's plate without being asked, and Goku kept thanking her without noticing that she had already moved on to the next thing. The way Gohan's eyes tracked everything his father said even while he appeared to be doing something else. The way the house felt inhabited, thoroughly and comfortably inhabited by people who belonged to each other. Something about it made his chest tight in a good way. He thought about Iruka-sensei, who used to buy him ramen. He thought about Kakashi, who had been terrible at saying anything warm and had said it anyway in his own sideways way. He thought about Team 7. He pushed that thought somewhere quieter for now. After breakfast, while Kai was clearing up and Goku was getting ready to go back out and train, Naruto offered to help with the dishes. Kai looked at him for a moment like he had said something surprising, and then she handed him a cloth and pointed him toward the pile. They washed up in companionable quiet for a while. Then Kai said, without preamble, "You're looking for a way home." "Yes," Naruto said. "That might be complicated," she said. "There are things here that can travel between dimensions. Goku can do it with instant transmission. There are also other means." She was quiet for a moment. "There is someone you should talk to. If anyone would know about a seal that sends people across dimensions, it would be Bulma." "Who is Bulma?" Naruto asked. "She is a scientist," Kai said. "Brilliant one. Reckless, in my opinion, but she has more knowledge about energy and ancient technology than anyone else alive. She is a friend of Goku's. Has been since they were children. She is currently in West City, which is a few hours away. Can I get there on my own?" Kai looked at him. "Can you fly?" "Not on my own," Naruto said. She nodded. "I will ask Goku to take you." "Goku," she called. From somewhere outside, Goku said, "Yeah. Take Naruto to West City today. To see Bulma." There was a brief pause. "Today?" "Yes, today. After you actually help Gohan with his morning practice." Another pause. "Okay." Kai went back to her dishes. Naruto kept helping. He wiped down the last bowl and set it in its place and looked sideways at her. "Thank you," he said quietly. "For this. All of it." She glanced at him. Then away. "You remind me of him when he was younger," she said. "Goku. That same energy. Like you are absolutely certain things are going to work out because you will make them work out." She picked up the last cup. "It is irritating. It is also," she paused, "reassuring." Naruto smiled. He did not say anything. Sometimes not saying anything was the right response. An hour later, he was in the air. Goku carried him via something he called flying, which was apparently just what Kai users could do, move through the air under their own power as naturally as walking. He flew fast. Much faster than a bird, faster than most things Naruto had ever seen in the air. The landscape below swept past in a blur of green fields and rivers and distant mountains, and eventually a sprawl of urban development that grew denser and more organized until they were over a real city, modern and large, with wide streets and tall buildings, and a shoreline on one side, where the buildings gave way to the ocean. They landed in front of a building that was labeled Capsule Corporation, a large rounded structure with a cat logo that somehow managed to look both deeply corporate and slightly playful. The front lawn was enormous and well maintained and had what appeared to be several small craters in it that no one had filled in, suggesting that this place was accustomed to significant impacts. The woman was standing on the front steps. She was maybe in her early 30s, with bright blue hair that was styled in a way that looked both casual and like it had taken considerable effort, and eyes a shade of blue that matched. She was dressed practically, jeans and a jacket, but there was something about the way she held herself that said she was someone who expected to be listened to, and generally was. She had a tablet in one hand and a coffee mug in the other, and she was looking at them with an expression of surprised delight that was entirely directed at Goku. "Goku," she said. "I was not expecting you. And who is this?" "This is Naruto," Goku said. "He is from a different dimension." The woman's eyes snapped to Naruto. Immediately sharp, immediately calculating, assessing him the way Kai had done, but with a different kind of intelligence behind it. Scientific intelligence. The kind that saw a data point and immediately wanted to know what category it fit into and what it connected to. "Different dimension," she said. "Different world entirely," Naruto said. "I was transported here by an ancient seal that I did not know was a transportation seal. I am trying to figure out how to get back." The woman was quiet for exactly 3 seconds. Then she said, "Get inside. I have questions." She turned and walked back into the building. Naruto looked at Goku. Goku shrugged cheerfully. "That is Bulma," he said. "She gets excited about things." They followed her inside. The inside of Capsule Corporation was unlike anything Naruto had ever walked through. It was a laboratory crossed with a workshop crossed with what seemed like a very well-funded library. Screens covered walls showing data readouts he could not interpret. Machines he could not name hummed and beeped. There were entire rooms visible through glass walls, filled with more equipment, and somewhere deeper in the building, he could hear the sound of something being built or taken apart. Bulma led them to a large workspace, cleared one corner of a lab table with an efficient sweep that moved everything to a secondary surface without anything falling, and hoisted herself up to sit on the cleared edge. She set her coffee down and pulled her tablet up and looked at him. "Tell me everything," she said. "Leave nothing out." Naruto told her. He started at the beginning, the mission, the ruins, the seal, the transportation, the landing. He described the seal as precisely as he could, the concentric circles, the branching lines, the scale of it, the way it had felt when he touched it with his chakra. Bulma listened without interrupting, which he suspected was not her natural default, but something she was doing deliberately, tapping notes on her tablet. When he finished she was quiet for a moment, looking at her tablet screen. Then she said, "Describe chakra to me. Physically. What does it feel like to produce it? Where does it come from?" He explained. The physical energy from the body and the mental energy from the mind, combined in the chakra network, shaped and directed through will and technique. He demonstrated by building a small amount of chakra in his palm, not enough to do anything dramatic, just enough to create a visible shimmer. Bulma leaned forward immediately, holding her tablet up to record it. Her eyes were very bright. "This is incredible," she said. "This is not Kai at all. The origin point is completely different. Kai draws on your life force and the energy around you. This is," she was quiet for a moment, searching for a word. "Internal. Completely internal. You are generating it from the interaction between your own physical and mental states." "Yes," Naruto said. "And you can shape it into physical constructs. The copies Goku mentioned. They have their own chakra, yes. They are real. What happens when they are destroyed?" "The chakra dissolves and I get their memories," Naruto said. Bulma stared at him. "You get their memories?" "Yes." She turned to her tablet and started writing very fast. They spent 3 hours in that lab. Bulma asked questions that were precise and strange and occasionally surprisingly philosophical. Goku sat on a nearby chair and ate lunch that someone had apparently delivered at some point. Apparently he had texted ahead, and Bulma had had someone order food, and he listened with the particular attention he gave things that interested him, total and uncomplicated. By the end of 3 hours, Bulma had a working theory. "The seal you described," she said, "is consistent with an ancient dimensional stabilization mechanism. The kind of technology, and I use that word in the broadest possible sense, that was likely built to create fixed connections between stable points in different realities." She turned her tablet around to show him a diagram she had sketched out, a rough but clear visual of a network of points connected by lines, like a web. If the seal degraded over 1,000 years, the connection became unstable. When you added your own energy to it, it did not send you to its intended destination. It essentially, she searched for the word, misrouted you. "So I am not at the right destination." "Almost certainly not," she said. "The intended destination could have been anywhere. What actually happened was that the residual energy in the seal grabbed the nearest available reality that your own energy signature could interface with and sent you there. Here, in other words. Can it be reversed?" She made a face that suggested the answer was complicated. "Probably. Eventually. The mechanism exists, in theory. Recreating a seal that can access the specific dimensional frequency of your home reality while simultaneously having enough power to push you through is not a small problem." She tapped her chin. "I am going to need more data about your dimension. Specifically about the chakra you carry, which seems to have some unusual qualities." She was looking at him carefully. "There is something else in there, is there not? Something bigger than your own energy." He was quiet for a moment. Yes, he said. I have a very large energy source that is not my own, living inside me. We coexist. How large, she said. He thought about how to answer that. Have you ever seen the sun close up, he said. She blinked. No. If you could feel it, he said. The raw energy of it. Not the light, the actual mass of energy underneath. That size. That density. Bulma stared at him for a long moment. Then she looked at Goku. Did you know about this? He told me he had something inside him, Goku said. And that did not seem notable to you. I thought that was interesting, Goku said. Bulma turned back to Naruto. The entity inside you. Is it contained safely? We are cooperating, Naruto said. It is fine. It is fine, she repeated flatly. She wrote something on her tablet. Okay. Okay. She breathed out once, like someone resetting. This is manageable. This is all information I can work with. She looked at him again, and this time her expression was different. Less scientist, more person. How are you doing, she said. With all of this? He blinked. The directness of the question caught him off guard. Fine, he said. You just got thrown across dimensions to a world you have never heard of, she said. You do not know anyone here, you do not have a way home, you do not know the rules or the dangers. That is a very unsettling situation. He met her gaze. I have been in worse situations. I tend to just figure things out as I go. She studied him for a moment. Then she smiled. It was quick and a little dry and very genuine. I can work with that energy, she said. She hopped off the lab table. You should stay here for now. We have room and the resources to help you, and I want to keep running readings on your chakra while I work on the dimensional frequency problem. She glanced at Goku. You are welcome too, obviously, though I know Kai will want you home. I should probably get back, Goku said. Yes, Bulma said. Yes, you should. Goku grinned. He stood up and stretched. Naruto, he said. I will come check on you. He paused. Also, if you want to train together properly, I know a good spot. He said it with the same simplicity he said everything, just an offer, no performance attached. Naruto felt something settle in him. Yeah, he said. I would like that. Goku nodded, smiled once more at Bulma, and walked toward the exit. A moment later there was the distinct sound of someone departing very quickly and then silence. Bulma looked at Naruto. I am going to give you a room and a data tablet I can load with information about this world. Laws, geography, history, the major players. She started walking and gestured for him to follow. Tonight we will eat dinner. Tomorrow I will start proper readings. She paused in the hallway and looked back at him. Do you cook? I can make instant ramen, Naruto said. That does not count, she said, and kept walking. He followed her through the building, past rooms of equipment and down a corridor that led to what was clearly a residential section, warmer and quieter. She showed him a room, larger than the one at the Sun House, with its own bathroom and a real desk and a window that looked out over the city. He stood in the doorway and looked at it. Thank you, he said. Genuinely. She waved a hand. Do not thank me yet. I am also going to make you a test subject. She said it cheerfully enough that it did not sound threatening. Information exchange. You answer my questions about chakra and your world, I work on your dimensional problem. Fair. Fair, he said. She handed him a data tablet. She had already loaded it with something, he could see text on the screen. Start with the history section, she said. The short version. The long version you will have to read yourself. She looked at him once more. You are going to be okay here, you know. It is a strange world, but there are good people in it. She said it matter-of-factly, no sentiment, just a statement of fact. Then she turned and walked back toward her lab. Naruto stood in the doorway of the room that was now, for now, his room. He looked down at the tablet. Then he went inside, sat on the bed, and started reading. The history of the Dragon Ball world, as summarized on the tablet in Bulma's own words, which he could tell by the editorial commentary she had clearly not been able to resist adding, was spectacular. Battles that had reshaped the planet. Villains from space. Beings from other dimensions. A god of destruction and his attendant. Something called the Tournament of Power, where warriors from multiple universes had fought for the survival of their worlds. A man who had died and come back so many times the process apparently had its own bureaucracy. And at the center of a lot of it, a man in an orange outfit who flew through the sky and changed forms and had defeated things that should not have been possible to defeat, not through power alone, but through something harder to define. Through refusal. Through the specific kind of stubbornness that looks like hope. Naruto sat with the tablet in his lap and felt Kurama stir inside him. We will get home, the fox said. And while we are here. We will not waste the time, Naruto said. No, Kurama agreed. We will not. Outside the window of Capsule Corporation, West City spread out in all its modern, electric complicated life, full of people going about their days completely unaware that somewhere in one of the top floor rooms of the biggest building on the block, a shinobi from another dimension was reading the history of their world and deciding, quietly and with complete certainty, that he was going to meet all of it head on. The orange jacket was going to stand out wherever he went. That had never stopped him before. Naruto woke up before the sun. This was not unusual for him. Years of shinobi life had wired his body to treat dawn as something that happened to other people who were not expected to be functional, alert, and ready to move at any moment. His eyes opened in the dark of the Capsule Corporation guest room, and he lay still for exactly 3 seconds, which was about how long it took him to remember where he was. Different world. No way home yet. Incredibly powerful people in every direction. He sat up. The city outside his window was doing what large cities do in the early hours, humming quietly to itself, traffic lights cycling through their colors for empty intersections, a few delivery vehicles moving through distant streets. The sky was the deep blue that lives just before sunrise, the color that feels like a held breath. He pulled on his orange jacket, laced his sandals, and went looking for the roof. In his experience, every building worth anything had good roof access if you knew how to find it. Capsule Corporation, which was large and round and built by a woman who apparently thought about things from every angle, was no exception. He found a maintenance stairwell near the back of the residential corridor and climbed it to a wide flat rooftop that looked out over the whole of West City. He sat in the lotus position on the concrete and closed his eyes. He started with basic chakra circulation, the most fundamental exercise in the shinobi world, pulling energy up from the coils in his abdomen, running it through the pathways in his limbs, feeling for blocks or irregularities. His system was clean. The transportation had not damaged anything structurally, which had been one of his quiet concerns. He moved the chakra in slow circuits, 1 full rotation, then 2, then 3, gradually picking up speed until the energy was moving through him like water through a well-carved channel. Then he reached for something different. He had been thinking about it since the spar with Goku yesterday. About Kai. About the fact that this world ran on a fundamentally different energy system, one that apparently allowed people to fly, to fire energy blasts, to power up in ways that his chakra, as versatile as it was, did not naturally replicate. Kurama had called it unusual. Different origin point, different fundamental nature. But Naruto had always been good at learning by feeling. The way he had learned to tap into natural energy for Sage Mode was not by studying it. It was by sitting still and opening himself up to it, letting it move into him until he understood what it was made of. So he sat on the roof of Capsule Corporation in the early dark, and instead of focusing inward on his chakra, he turned his attention outward. He had felt Kai before, twice now. Once in the field when Goku had landed, once during their spar. Each time it had registered as something in his sensor ability but slightly off frequency, like trying to listen to a radio station that was just slightly not tuned in. He reached for that frequency now. Not trying to take it or replicate it. Just trying to hear it more clearly. The city below him hummed. Cars, electricity, water in pipes, the collective warmth of sleeping bodies. And underneath it, faint but present, something else. Something that moved the way living things move, with intention underneath it, with the shape of will and energy combined. It was different from chakra. Chakra came from inside and was shaped outward. This was more diffuse, more ambient, drawn from everywhere and concentrated through the body. He could feel it dimly, like hearing a sound just at the edge of your range. He sat there with it for an hour. He did not grab it. He did not try to use it. He just listened. By the time the sky went pink and then gold with sunrise, he understood a little bit more than he had before. Not enough to do anything with, but enough to begin. He was doing push-ups on the roof when the door to the stairwell opened behind him. He did not stop. He counted off the last 10 in the current set and then sat back on his heels and looked around. A woman was standing by the stairwell door with a coffee mug in both hands and an expression of mild surprise. She was not Bulma. She was taller, with straight dark hair pulled back practically, dressed in a Capsule Corporation staff uniform. She looked at him, then at the spot where he had clearly been sitting, then at him again. "How long have you been up here?" she said. "Since before sunrise," Naruto said. "Do you want coffee?" "I have never had coffee." She blinked. Then she held out one of the 2 mugs. "I made extra." He took it. It was hot and dark and tasted like something between tree bark and ambition. He made a face. She smiled. "Takes getting used to," she said. "I am Dr. Miara. I work in the Energy Research Division." Bulma mentioned she had a guest with unusual properties. "Unusual properties," Naruto repeated. Her words, not mine. She sat down on a ventilation unit nearby and looked out over the city. "You are not from this world." "No. Does that bother you?" He thought about it. "Sometimes," he said. "More when I stop moving." She nodded. Naruto drank more of the coffee. It was getting slightly less terrible. He could see why people were attached to it. They sat in companionable silence until the sun was fully up and the city below was properly awake and moving, and then Naruto went back inside to find breakfast. The Capsule Corporation kitchen was large enough to serve the whole staff and stocked in the thorough way of someone who treated food as both fuel and pleasure. Naruto found bread and eggs and something that appeared to be smoked fish and made himself a meal that was not quite anything in particular but tasted good enough. He was halfway through it when Bulma appeared in the doorway. She was already dressed and already had her tablet and looked like she had been awake for a while, though not in the restful way he had been awake. More in the stayed up late reading way. "You were on the roof this morning," she said. "How did you know that?" "Building has sensors," she said, sitting down across from him and accepting half the toast he pushed toward her without comment. "What were you doing?" "Trying to feel Kai." She stopped. She set down the tablet. She looked at him with her full attention in a way that felt like stepping into a spotlight. "Can you do that?" "I can hear it, kind of. Very faintly. Like something just at the edge of range. You have been in this world for less than 24 hours and you can already partially sense Kai," she said. This was not a question. Her voice had gone to that precise scientific frequency, the one that meant she was filing information and it was doing something interesting when it landed. "I am a sensor type," Naruto said. "Back home I could feel chakra signatures from kilometers away. Kai is a different signal, but I think the underlying ability works on any energy. I just need to tune it." She was staring at him. Then she picked up her tablet and started writing things very fast. "I need to run readings after breakfast," she said. "Full spectrum. I want to see what your chakra network looks like compared to a Kai-based physiology, and I also want to see if there is any crossover." She paused. "Finish your food." He ate. She wrote. The morning sun came through the kitchen windows and made everything look gold, and somewhere deep in the building, something mechanical whirred to life. The lab readings took most of the morning. Bulma had a machine that could measure energy output in ways that would have fascinated every SEAL master Naruto had ever met. She attached small sensors to various points on his body, the kind that were painless and barely noticeable, and ran him through a series of exercises designed to produce measurable chakra output. He performed basic jutsu, the shadow clone, a small fire breath technique, some chakra-enhanced physical strikes into a measuring pad. She recorded everything with the focused absorption of someone who was seeing their entire understanding of energy physics being productively complicated. During one of the pauses between exercises, while she was recalibrating something, he asked her about the Dragon Balls. She looked up from her equipment. "What do you want to know?" "Everything," he said. "They can grant wishes." "Any wish," she said. "In theory. There are limitations. You cannot wish back someone who died of natural causes. You cannot wish for something that exceeds the power of the dragon." She paused. "The Earth Dragon, Shenron, has certain limits. But the Namekian Dragon, Purunga, is more powerful. And there are other sets of Dragon Balls in other universes." She tapped her chin. "Why?" He met her eyes. "Could they send me home?" She was quiet for a moment. It was a thinking quiet, not an evasive one. "I have considered that," she said. "The honest answer is, maybe. It depends on whether the dragon can interface with dimensional barriers between realities rather than just within a single universe. We have used them to reverse planetary scale destruction before. Dimensional transit might be within that range." She paused. "I would need to think about how to phrase the wish precisely." He nodded. "But it is a possibility." "It is a possibility," she confirmed. She held his gaze for a moment. "But gathering all 7 takes time, and I want to try the scientific approach first. Partly because I think we can do it without a wish, and partly because..." She stopped. "Partly because what?" he asked. She looked back at her equipment. "Partly because the readings I am getting from your chakra are extraordinary and I want more time to study them before you leave." She said it briskly, like admitting something she found slightly inconvenient. Information that only exists in one place in the universe is information that deserves proper documentation. He smiled. He could not help it. She glanced at him and saw the smile and pointed at him with her stylus. "Do not make that mean something it does not mean." "I was just smiling," he said. "You were smiling at me." People smile at people. It is a normal human activity. She turned back to her screen. "Go stand on the pad again." He went and stood on the pad. Lunch was delivered to the lab by a staff member who appeared to understand that when Bulma was deep in a project, food had to come to her. The delivery consisted of sandwiches and fruit and something in a thermos that Bulma drank without looking up from her screen. Naruto ate his sandwich and read more of the history tablet she had loaded for him. He was reading about something called the Cell Games when he felt it. The energy signature hit him first, before he heard anything, before the windows rattled or the sensors in the lab went reactive. A presence outside the building. Large. Dense. The specific kind of contained power that suggested someone who kept their energy compressed very tight, like a fist that is always partially clenched. And it was annoyed. He put down the tablet. He went to the window. In the front courtyard of Capsule Corporation, a man was standing with his arms crossed and his face arranged in an expression of general displeasure with the universe. He was not tall. He was compactly built, every inch of him precise and deliberate. He had hair that went straight up as if gravity had personally offended him and decided to make a point about it. He was wearing a blue bodysuit and white gloves, and he had the posture of someone who was accustomed to being the most important person in any room he entered and was constantly having to deal with the disappointment of other people not recognizing this quickly enough. "Bulma," Naruto said. "Who is that?" She did not look up. "If he is standing in the driveway looking like someone ran over his pride, that is my husband." Naruto looked at her. "That is your husband?" "We have a complicated dynamic," she said. Her voice was entirely neutral. "Go let him in, would you? He will not knock. He considers knocking beneath him." Naruto went to let him in. He walked out the front door and into the courtyard. The man's dark eyes moved to him immediately, with a trained snap of someone whose survival had depended on assessing threats before they fully registered. They moved from Naruto's head to his feet and back up, the comprehensive scan of a fighter taking inventory. Then they stopped on his face. The man said, "Who are you?" "Naruto Uzumaki," Naruto said. "Guest of Bulma's. You must be Vegeta." The man's eyes narrowed. "How do you know my name?" "She described you," Naruto said honestly. "How?" Vegeta said. He considered his words. "Accurately," he said. Vegeta stared at him for a moment. Then he walked past him into the building without further comment. Naruto followed. Bulma had finally looked up from her screen. She and Vegeta looked at each other in that particular way of two people who know each other too completely to bother with social framing. Information moved between them silently. Then Vegeta looked at the sensor equipment, at the measuring pad, at the readings still displayed on Bulma's screens, and back at Naruto. "You're studying him," Vegeta said. "He has a unique energy system," Bulma said. "Not Kai. Something called chakra. He is from a different dimension." Vegeta was quiet for a moment. "Different dimension?" "Yes. And he is not a threat." Bulma looked at Naruto. "Are you a threat?" "Not unless someone makes me one," Naruto said. She looked back at Vegeta. "Not a threat." Vegeta walked to one of the lab chairs and sat down, which somehow he managed to make look like a choice of position, rather than sitting in a chair. He crossed his arms and regarded Naruto with a level, calculating gaze. His energy was still compressed, tight and deliberate. But Naruto could feel the edges of it, and the edges were significant. This is where things got interesting. Because Vegeta could also feel something. Naruto could see it in the slight shift of the man's expression, the fractional sharpening of already sharp eyes. The tightening at the corners of his mouth. Something about Naruto's presence was registering on his sensors too, and it was not computing correctly. "What are you?" Vegeta said. "Your body reads as human. But there is something else layered underneath." "He is carrying a large-scale entity inside his chakra system," Bulma said. "Something enormous." Her voice was casual, academic, which told Naruto she had been processing the readings from this morning and had updated her understanding. Vegeta uncrossed his arms. He looked at Naruto differently now. "An entity. A nine-tailed fox," Naruto said. "Made of chakra. Very old. Very powerful. You contain it. We share space," Naruto said. "We cooperate." Vegeta's expression did something complicated. It did not become softer, exactly. It became more layered. Like someone hearing a piece of information that reorganized something they had already classified. He looked at Naruto for a long moment. Then he stood up. "Outside," he said. Naruto blinked. "What?" "We are going outside. I want to see what this chakra looks like in actual application. Bulma's readings are data. I want to see it move." He walked out of the lab without waiting for a response. Naruto looked at Bulma. She was already turning back to her screen. "He does that," she said. "Go. He will actually be useful in his way. He has a better eye for combat ability than anyone alive except possibly Goku." She paused. "Which he hates." Naruto went outside. They ended up in the large open space behind the Capsule Corporation main building, a wide area of flat ground that showed clear evidence of having been used for training before. The concrete was cracked in patterns that spoke of impact. There were scorch marks that would not fully wash out. The walls of the building behind them had been reinforced at some point with plating that had also been cracked and repaired. Vegeta stood in the center of the open space with his arms at his sides. "Show me something," he said. Naruto formed the cross seal. Shadow clone jutsu. 6 clones burst into being around the space, spreading out immediately, each one moving to a different position. Vegeta's eyes tracked all 6 simultaneously and then came back to the original with a flat expression. "Copies," he said. "I have seen copies before." "These are real," Naruto said. "Each one has its own chakra. They can fight independently. When they disperse, I get their memories." Vegeta was quiet. "Real," he said. "Yes. The Prince of Saiyans looked at the nearest clone, then reached out with his own energy, a brief precise pulse. The clone looked back at him steadily. Vegeta pulled his energy back in. His expression had changed again, slightly. Like someone rechecking a measurement. "Fight me," he said. Naruto looked at him. "With the clones. With everything you have." Vegeta's voice was level, but there was something underneath it. Not aggression. More like hunger. The specific appetite of someone who exists to measure themselves against what is real. "Goku has that, the man I saw with you on the road," Bulma had told him earlier when she had been explaining the family dynamics. "He is always looking for the next level. Vegeta is looking for it too, just with more pride attached." All 6 clones moved simultaneously. Vegeta dispersed the first 2 with a sweep of both arms, clean and economical. The third and fourth he sidestepped, pivoting with a precision that was almost elegant. The fifth got a hand on his shoulder before Vegeta threw it with a redirect that sent it into the wall hard enough to disperse it. The sixth landed a kick to his ribs. Vegeta stopped. He looked down at where the kick had connected. He looked at the 6th clone. He looked at Naruto. "That one landed," Naruto said. "I felt it," Vegeta said. There was something odd in his voice. Naruto could not quite classify it. "The chakra enhancement," Naruto said. "I pushed extra energy into the muscle before impact. Back home we call it Taijutsu enhancement. It increases the force transfer." Vegeta uncrossed his arms. "Do it again." The remaining clone came at him again. This time Vegeta was watching for it and he caught the kick on his forearm and held it. The force ground against him and he felt it. Naruto could see him feeling it, the way his stance adjusted fractionally to brace for the pressure that the chakra behind the strike was generating. He released the clone's leg. The clone stepped back. "Interesting," Vegeta said. "It is not Kai. But it loads the physical strike differently. The impact has a different character." "It spins," Naruto said. "The chakra has rotational properties when applied to physical techniques. It does not just add force. It adds a grinding component." Vegeta looked at him properly now. Really looked. The assessment in his eyes had shifted from dismissal pending to something that might cautiously be called consideration. "Show me the energy ball Kakarot mentioned," he said. Kakarot was what Vegeta called Goku. Naruto had already gathered this from the history tablet. He formed the Rasengan in his palm, the rotating sphere of dense chakra spinning into existence with its characteristic sound. Vegeta looked at it without moving. The expression on his face was entirely neutral, but his energy flickered. Just slightly. Just for a moment. He said. He powered up. Not fully. Not even close to fully, Naruto suspected. But the energy that rose around Vegeta when he stopped compressing it was something that made the air change texture. The ground under his feet developed hairline cracks. The temperature in the immediate area went up several degrees. His hair stood out and a faint aura of blue-white energy wrapped him like a second skin. Naruto felt Kurama wake up fully in his consciousness. The fox did not panic. He just became very alert, very present, like an animal that has scented something significant. Naruto pushed chakra to his feet and his hands and ran. He went fast. Genuinely fast, the Sage Mode baseline speed that had taken him years to build, enhanced further by the chakra flow in his legs. He closed the distance and drove the Rasengan forward, and Vegeta moved, not quite out of the way, but enough that the sphere grazed his side, rather than landing square. The rotational force chewed at Vegeta's energy aura as it made contact, and for just a fraction of a second Naruto felt the aura destabilize slightly at the point of contact, like fabric snagging on something rough. Then Vegeta's elbow came around and caught him in the shoulder and sent him skidding 15 feet across the concrete. He rolled, got his feet under him, came up already forming seals. The clones converged from 3 directions. Vegeta went through them methodically, not elegantly, more like someone clearing a path, but each dispersal was clean and controlled, and none of them got through. Naruto built the Rasengan again, and this time came in from below, dropping under Vegeta's guard and driving upward. Vegeta brought both hands down and caught it, the same way Goku had, both palms pressing against the rotation. The sphere ground against his hands and the concrete around his feet shattered in a ring. He held it. He pushed it back. The scattered chakra crackled in the air, and Naruto landed on his feet 8 meters back, breathing harder now. His shoulder ached where the elbow had caught it. Vegeta stood in the center of the broken concrete with his hands at his sides and looked at him. There was something in his face now that had not been there before. Not warmth, exactly. That was not a word Naruto could apply to Vegeta with any confidence. But something that was the absence of dismissal, which in its own way was significant. "You have actual combat instinct," Vegeta said. "Not just technique. You read openings genuinely." "I have been fighting since I was 12, Naruto said. "It shows." He paused. "You are nowhere near strong enough for this world at your current level." "I know," Naruto said. "The gap is very large." "I know." Vegeta looked at him. Naruto looked back. Neither of them looked away. Then Vegeta said, "The rotational property of your energy is unusual. When it made contact with my aura, it created interference. That is not something Kai-based attacks do. They clash or they pass through. Yours grinds. It is the nature of the chakra, Naruto said. Everything I make with it has that property to some degree. Vegeta nodded, a single, precise movement. He turned and walked back toward the building. Over his shoulder he said, if you are going to be here for a while, you should train seriously. This world has threats that will kill you where you stand if you are not ready. I plan on it, Naruto said. Vegeta paused. Just barely. Then he kept walking. Naruto looked at the scattered concrete and the Rasengan residue still crackling in the air. He rolled his sore shoulder carefully. It was bruised but not damaged. Fine. He had a lot of work to do. Dinner that night at Capsule Corporation was loud and sprawling in a way that caught Naruto off guard. He had been expecting something quiet, maybe him and Bulma and whatever staff happened to be around. What he got was Goku and Kai arriving around 6 with Gohan, followed by a bald monk-looking man with a halo who Bulma introduced as Krillin, and a woman with short blonde hair and sharp blue eyes who Krillin introduced as Android 18. Naruto stopped when he was introduced to 18. Not because she was not what he had been expecting, though she was not. He had not been expecting anything particular. He stopped because her energy was different from everyone else in the room. Where everyone else registered as Kai, some huge, some moderate, all living and warm in its way, hers was something else. Still powerful. Very powerful, actually. But with a different quality underneath it. More structured. More constant. He filed it away to ask about later. The dinner itself was the kind of meal that became an event simply by virtue of the people eating it. Kai had apparently decided that Capsule Corporation's kitchen was an opportunity rather than a limitation, and she had produced things from it that had the Capsule staff looking impressed and the Saiyans looking delighted. Goku ate with his characteristic total commitment. Vegeta ate at the other end of the table and did not participate in conversation, but also did not leave, which Bulma told Naruto in a quiet aside was him acknowledging the group in the only way he knew how. Naruto sat between Gohan and Krillin. Krillin was exactly the kind of person Naruto liked immediately. Friendly, self-deprecating about exactly the right things, genuinely funny, and underneath all of that clearly someone who had been through a lot and had come out of it with his essential cheerfulness intact. He asked Naruto questions with genuine interest and listened to the answers with his whole face. 18 sat across from them. She did not ask questions. She watched. Her eyes moved around the table and occasionally stopped on whoever was speaking, and her face was calm in the specific way of someone who chose what they showed very deliberately. When she looked at Naruto, she looked at him the way she looked at everyone else, level and direct and not unkind, just measuring. At one point Krillin said something that made Naruto laugh, a real laugh, surprised out of him, and 18 looked at him when he laughed. He did not notice immediately. When he did, she had already looked away. At the end of dinner, when people were moving around and clearing plates and the volume of multiple conversations had reached its natural post-meal peak, he found himself standing near 18 at the kitchen counter, both of them having arrived with empty plates at the same moment. So you are the new arrival, she said. Her voice was even and clear, no particular inflection. That is me, Naruto said. From a different dimension. Yeah. She was quiet for a moment, setting her plate on the stack. What was it like, she said, when you first arrived? He thought about the hillside. The too blue sky. The sense of the ground under his hands being absolutely real and absolutely wrong at the same time. Disorienting, he said. For about an hour. Then I decided it was something I was going to deal with. She looked at him. That was a quick adjustment. Panicking takes energy I could use for other things, he said. Something moved in her face. Not quite a smile. The precursor to one, the shape that a smile would fit into if she decided to make it. She picked up a glass from the counter and walked away, back toward where Krillin was talking to Goku. Naruto watched her go for just a moment. Then he went to help clear the remaining dishes because Kai had already started and leaving her to do it alone felt wrong on a fundamental level. Later that night, after everyone had gone home or to their respective rooms, Naruto sat on the roof again. The city glittered below. He had a lot of thoughts moving through him, and he sat with them the way he had learned to sit with difficult things, not trying to resolve them all at once, just letting them settle into their natural order. He was stranded in a world that operated on a power scale far above anything he had ever known. The strongest people here were fighting gods. Actual gods, Bulma had confirmed. There was a literal god of destruction named Beerus, who liked to blow up planets when he was in a bad mood, and there were people stronger than Beerus. At his current level, Naruto estimated that he could probably handle the lower end of the Kai user spectrum and would get absolutely destroyed by anyone in the serious tier. That was the bad news. The good news was that he had been at the bottom of a scale before. He had been the worst student at the academy, the kid nobody expected anything from, the vessel of a monster that half the village was afraid of. He had closed every gap that had ever been put in front of him. Not always gracefully. Not always quickly. But always. He reached inside himself. Kurama was there, warm and enormous in the way the fox always was, like sitting next to a very large fire. "Tell me what you noticed today," Naruto said. "About what?" "About Kai. About the people here." Kurama was quiet for a moment. "The Saiyan called Vegeta," the fox said. "His power is more refined than Goku's, though smaller in absolute terms. He controls it precisely. He is the better teacher if you want to understand technique. Goku is better for instinct and pushing limits." And 18. The fox paused longer this time. "She is not fully human," Kurama said. "I do not know the full story. But what lives inside her is mechanical in its nature. Structured differently from either Kai or chakra. It is energy, yes, but it was engineered. Placed there deliberately. Is she okay with that? I cannot tell you what she feels about it. I can only tell you what she is." He paused. "She looked at you 3 times tonight when you were not looking at her." Naruto blinked. "That is not," he started. "I am thousands of years old," Kurama said. "I know what looking means." Naruto looked out over the city. He did not say anything else on that subject. "What about the gap," he said. "Between where I am and where I need to be?" Kurama took his time. "I have been thinking about this since yesterday," the fox said. "Here is what I believe. Your chakra and Kai are compatible in ways that even Bulma does not fully understand yet. I am a chakra entity of extraordinary scale. When you enter Sage mode, you can pull natural energy into your system. In this world, Kai is ambient. It is in everything, the air, the ground, living things. Your Sage mode sensory ability is already picking it up." He paused. "What if you could learn to incorporate a small measure of Kai into your Sage mode the way you incorporate natural energy? Not replace your chakra. Supplement it." Naruto was very still. "Is that possible?" "I do not know," Kurama said. "But I do not know that it is not. And you have never been someone who waited for confirmation before trying something." "That was fair." "Okay," Naruto said. "That is the goal. Learn to sense Kai properly. Learn to incorporate it. Push every existing technique to its limit in this new environment." He breathed out slowly. "Get strong enough to matter here. And find a way home," Kurama said. "And find a way home," Naruto agreed. The next morning began the real work. He asked Goku, who had returned early and apparently had cleared his schedule with Kai by some negotiation Naruto did not want to know the details of. Goku was delighted. He was always delighted by the prospect of training. It was one of his most fundamental qualities, this joy in the work of getting better, uncomplicated and genuine. They went to a field about 20 kilometers outside the city, one of the flat areas near a mountain range where there was room to move and the geography could handle what they were going to put it through. Goku started him on Kai awareness first. He explained it the way he explained most things, straightforward and without any of the mysticism that some teachers applied to it. "Kai is your life force and the energy around you," he said. "You feel it from inside first. Find the energy your body generates just from being alive, the warmth of it, the pulse. You already do something like this with chakra. Kai is similar in that starting point, you draw on your own physical energy. But where chakra takes from your mental energy too, Kai is more about your physical life force and your will." Naruto sat across from him in the grass and felt inward. He found chakra immediately, his constant companion, the thing he had lived inside for his entire life. He moved past it, looking for something underneath. Something more fundamental than the techniques he had learned, more fundamental than the chakra network itself. The raw animal energy of a living body. The heat of metabolism, the pressure of blood, the electrical charge of nerve signals. He had felt it before. Every shinobi did, on some level. But he had never tried to do something with it separately from his chakra. He sat with it for a long time. Goku sat across from him and did not rush him. The sun moved. Then he felt something new. A thread of energy that was not his chakra but was undeniably coming from him, rising from somewhere deep and physical. It was small. Smaller than anything he was used to working with. But it was there, and it was different. He reached for it. Goku's eyes opened. "I felt that," he said quietly. "Do not force it. Let it rise." He let it rise. It was slow. It was delicate. The Kai thread was like a single strand compared to the rope of his chakra. But it moved differently, it had a different quality, lighter and more diffuse, and when he turned his attention to the world around him through it, he felt the grass, the ground, the mountain behind them, all of it faintly alive with the same energy. "Yes," Goku said. He was smiling. "That is it. That is the basic sensation." He paused. "How does it feel compared to your chakra?" "Like the difference between a river and rain," Naruto said. "Chakra is the river. This is the rain. Everywhere. Smaller, but more distributed." Goku blinked. "That is a really good description. I am going to use that." They spent the morning on sensing. By midday Naruto could feel his own Kai with some consistency. He could not project it, could not use it for anything, but the awareness was there and growing. Goku told him that what he had done in one morning had taken some people weeks. You have a natural sensitivity to energy, Goku said. From the chakra training, probably. Your senses are already calibrated for that kind of perception. He tilted his head. Also the thing inside you. I can feel it when you push it. It sharpens everything. Kurama, Naruto said. Kurama, Goku repeated, tasting the name. Tell it I said hello. Naruto conveyed this to the fox. Kurama's response was not repeatable in polite company, but underneath the reflexive gruffness there was something that might have been a fractional degree of warmth. He says hi back, Naruto told Goku. Goku grinned. In the afternoon they moved to physical training. Not sparring, not yet, but the kind of basic movement and form work that Goku apparently did every day, foundational exercises that Naruto recognized from the deep structure of his own taijutsu training. There were universal principles of balance and weight transfer that seemed to apply across both their systems. He and Goku moved through forms together, sometimes mirroring, sometimes offsetting, learning from each other's muscle memory. Goku had a fluidity to his movement that was different from the shinobi style Naruto had grown up with. Shinobi taijutsu was built around efficiency and concealment, the minimum necessary motion, nothing telegraphed. Goku moved more openly, more expansively, but with a precision underneath the openness that was its own kind of subtlety. You telegraph less than I expect, Naruto said during a break. Goku looked interested. What do you mean? Your style looks open, Naruto said. Big movement. But your actual attack comes from somewhere unexpected. You use the big movement to hide the real one. Goku was quiet for a second. Then he said, my grandfather taught me that. He said never let them see where the real strike is. Make them look at what is not dangerous. That is shinobi thinking, Naruto said. Maybe, Goku said. Or maybe it is just fighting. They sat and drank water, and Goku asked him more about his world. Naruto told him about the great ninja villages, about the cage, about the wars. He told him about Kurama's history, about the Jinchuriki, about what it meant to carry something that afraid and that powerful inside you. Goku listened with total attention. When Naruto finished, Goku said, you and the fox. You chose to understand each other instead of fight each other. It took a long time, Naruto said. But you got there. Yeah. Goku was quiet for a moment, looking at the mountains. That is the kind of thing that matters more than how strong you are, he said. He said it simply, the way he said things that he had thought about for a long time. A really strong person who does not know how to do that, they miss something. They can fight. But they miss the thing that makes it worth fighting for. Naruto looked at him. He thought about Sasuke. About the valley at the end of everything. About what it had cost and what it had ultimately built. Yeah, he said. I know what you mean. They trained until the sun started going red over the mountains. Then they flew back. Goku flew. Naruto rode on his back, which was not exactly dignified, but was the practical option. He spent the flight trying to feel the Kai that Goku was using to stay airborne, trying to feel how it displaced air and held weight and generated thrust. He would fly on his own eventually. He had decided this. Back at Capsule Corporation, Bulma was waiting with new data and a lot of questions. He answered them over dinner, the two of them at the long kitchen table with Vegeta at the other end eating and pretending not to listen. She had been analyzing the morning's readings and had found something that excited her. The chakra in his system was not static. It was not like a battery with a fixed amount. It was more like a generating system, constantly producing new energy from the combination of his physical and mental states. The more he pushed, the more it generated, within limits. She had been comparing this to Kai production in normal physiology, and the parallels were interesting. Kai regenerates too, she said. But more slowly, and it is more vulnerable to depletion. Your system seems to have a faster recovery rate. She showed him the numbers on her screen. He could not read all of them, but the shapes of the graphs were clear enough. Yours spikes and then recovers faster. She pointed to a comparison graph she had built from Goku's historical readings, flattens out under extreme exertion, and takes longer to recover. What does that mean in practice, he said. It means in a long fight, you might hold on longer at a lower ceiling, she said. Think of it as the difference between a sprint and a marathon. Kai users tend to be sprinters. Your system might be more sustainable at high output. That is useful, Naruto said. It might be, she said. Depending on what you can do with it. She looked at him over the edge of her screen. You should sleep tonight. Properly. Not on the roof for 3 hours and then crashing. Real sleep. He blinked. You knew about the roof. Sensors, she said. I told you. She went back to her screen. Real sleep, Naruto. He went to bed at a reasonable hour and slept without dreaming. In the morning, on day 3, Vegeta was waiting for him in the training area behind the building. Naruto came out after breakfast and stopped when he saw the Saiyan standing there in his training gear with his arms crossed and his expression arranged in what Naruto was learning was his default face, which was a slightly irritated version of neutral. What are we doing? Naruto said. I am going to teach you how Kai actually works in a physical fight, Vegeta said. Not the theory Bulma is running. The reality of it. Because in 2 days you are going to encounter something in this world that will require you to know this, or you will not handle it well. Naruto frowned. What am I going to encounter in 2 days? Vegeta looked at him steadily. There is a martial arts exhibition tournament being held in South City. A regional qualifier. It is not the world tournament, just a preliminary. But there will be fighters there with serious Kai development. Goku has been invited as a demonstration fighter, which means people will be watching and the energy level in that building will be, he paused, significant. If you cannot read Kai properly by then, you will be blind in that environment. Why are you telling me this? Vegeta was quiet for a moment. He looked away, toward the mountains. Because Goku told me what you said yesterday. About the fox and choosing to understand instead of fight. He said it flatly, like he was reporting a fact. And because your chakra has properties that interest me from a tactical standpoint. He looked back. Also Bulma told me to help you, and I find it difficult to not do things Bulma tells me to do when she makes the particular face she made when she said it. Naruto bit down hard on the inside of his cheek to keep his face still. Okay, he said. They started. Vegeta's teaching style was nothing like Goku's. Where Goku taught through enthusiasm and example and a kind of contagious joy in the process, Vegeta taught through precision and demand. He explained things once and expected them to be understood. He corrected errors immediately and without much softening of the correction. He had no interest in encouragement as a tool. What he offered instead was something more valuable, which was his complete and serious attention. When Vegeta watched you train, you felt that he was actually seeing everything, that nothing was missed, that the feedback you got was accurate. "I flows from your core," he said, standing close enough that Naruto could feel the controlled heat of his aura. "Not from your hands, not from your voice when you shout. Those are outputs. The source is here." He pressed 2 fingers just below Naruto's sternum, and here, he moved them to his center of mass. "Feel the difference between when you push chakra from this point versus from your extremities." Naruto tried it. He pushed chakra from his core and then from his hands, back and forth, feeling the difference. "The core output is cleaner," he said. "Less loss in transit." "Yes," Vegeta said. "Kai users learn this first, or they should. The ones who do not learn it plateau early. When you push energy from your extremities you lose efficiency. When you push from center, the whole body becomes the output." He paused. "Your chakra has the same property, I can see it in your movements. You already mostly do this. But in a Kai environment, it matters even more because you will be dealing with people whose auras can disrupt peripheral energy if it is loose." For 2 hours they worked on energy centering, the concept of holding everything tight to the core before releasing. Naruto's chakra cooperated in ways his Kai awareness still could not fully match, but Vegeta watched him find the principle and apply it, and something in the Saiyan's expression changed very slightly. "You learn fast," Vegeta said. It was not a compliment exactly. It was just a fact, stated. But coming from Vegeta, it carried weight. "I have good teachers," Naruto said. Vegeta looked at him. Then away. He crossed his arms. "Again," he said. They trained until noon. When they came inside for water, 18 was in the kitchen. She was making something on the stove, something that smelled like it had herbs in it, and she glanced over when they came through the door. Her eyes went from Vegeta to Naruto. "You're limping slightly," she said to Naruto. He had not noticed he was limping. He shifted his weight and felt a bruise on his left thigh, from where Vegeta had caught him with a kick during a sparring exchange about an hour ago. He adjusted his stance. "Barely." "I am fine," he said. She turned back to the stove. "There is ice in the freezer if you need it." "He does not need ice," Vegeta said. "I was not talking to you," 18 said, entirely without heat. Vegeta made a sound that was technically not a response and walked out. Naruto went to the freezer, got ice, wrapped it in a cloth, and held it against his thigh while leaning on the counter near 18. She did not comment on this, which he appreciated. "You live here," he said. "At Capsule Corporation." "Krillin and I have a house nearby," she said. "We come here often." She added something to the pan and it sizzled. She handled the cooking the way she handled everything else, efficiently and without wasted movement. "The tournament in 2 days," Naruto said. "Are you going?" She was quiet for a moment. "Yes," she said. "Krillin likes to watch the fights." "What about you?" She glanced at him. "I watch for the technique. What people do wrong is more informative than what they do right." "That sounds like something a serious fighter says," he said. She did not respond to that. She added more ingredients. He watched the city through the kitchen window while the ice numbed his thigh. "What was it like?" she said, after a while. He looked at her. "What?" "Being told there was something in you that was not yours. That you were carrying something you had not chosen." He looked at her carefully. He thought about what Kurama had said. About her being mechanical, engineered, not fully human. He did not ask. She had not asked him about Kurama either. They were both just people standing in a kitchen with things living inside them that other people had put there. "Scary at first," he said honestly. "Then lonely." Then, eventually, I figured out that the thing inside me was just as scared as I was. After that it got better. She said nothing for a moment. Then she said, "The pan is ready. Are you hungry?" "Yes," he said. "Sit down," she said. He sat down. She put a plate in front of him a few minutes later and then sat down across from him with her own. They ate without talking, and it was the comfortable kind of not talking, the kind that means two people are at ease with each other rather than avoiding each other. He thought about what Kurama had said. "She looked at you 3 times. He thought about what Kurama had not said, which was that he had also looked at her and that he had noticed when she walked away. He ate his food and looked out the window and did not think about it too hard. That evening Bulma called him to the lab. She had a new development and she wanted him to see it in person. She had been running dimensional frequency analysis on the residue chakra she had collected from the morning's readings, and she had isolated something she had not been expecting to find. The chakra carried a dimensional signature, a kind of energetic fingerprint unique to the reality it had originated in. She had built a model of it on her screen and she showed him the waveform. "Every particle of chakra you produce," she said, pointing to the waveform display, "carries this signature. It is like a return address. If we can amplify this signal and use it to locate the corresponding dimensional frequency of your home reality, we can, in theory, build a pathway back." "In theory," he said. "The machinery required would be significant," she said. She made a face that suggested significant was an understatement. "I would need to build something I have never built before. And I would need a power source of substantial scale to push a physical body through the barrier between realities." "How substantial?" She named an energy figure that meant nothing to him. She saw his face and translated it. "About the same output as a mid-level Kai blast from a Super Saiyan." He processed this. "So you would need a Super Saiyan to power the machine. Or an equivalent energy source," she said. She looked at him. "The entity inside you could theoretically supply that level of energy output. If it agreed to." He reached inward. "Kurama." "I heard," the fox said. "I can do it. When the time comes." "He can do it," Naruto said. Bulma nodded. She wrote something on her tablet. Then she looked at him with an expression that was complicated in a way she was clearly not intending to show. She looked back at her tablet. "Good," she said. "That gives us a viable path. It will take time to build. Weeks, possibly longer. But it is viable." He stood up from the lab stool and stretched. He looked at her for a moment. She was already back in her data, her eyes tracking numbers on the screen, her hair falling slightly out of its arrangement as it always did when she had been working for hours. There was a pencil stuck in her hair that she had clearly put there and forgotten about. "Thank you," he said. "For taking this seriously." She did not look up. "Of course I take it seriously. It is a fascinating problem." "Not just as a problem," he said. "As a situation. For me." She was quiet for a moment. Then she said, still not looking up, "You're welcome." She paused. "Go sleep. You have training tomorrow." He went to sleep. On the roof, briefly, just for a little while, sitting in the night air and letting the city sound settle over him like a blanket. He thought about home. About Konoha. About the faces he was missing. He let himself feel it fully, the ache of it, the specific weight of being far from people you loved. He sat with it for the length of time it took to feel it properly, and then he set it carefully aside. He would get back. That was a fact. Not a hope, a fact. He would do the work, he would get strong, and when the machine was built and the time came he would go home. Until then, he was here, and here had things to offer. Training. Allies. Battles. A world to understand. And 2 days until a tournament where he was going to see what this world looked like when it actually tried. His orange jacket was folded on the ledge beside him. He picked it up and looked at it. Worn, familiar, the same shade it had always been. He put it back on. Below him, West City hummed and glittered, a world of gods and warriors and scientists and people who had learned to live alongside impossible things. He pulled his knees to his chest and looked up at the stars. He was going to be okay. He was already, in the small ways that counted first, beginning to belong. Thanks for watching my video and supporting me. Have a fantastic day. See you next time. Till then, sayonara.